Danandana Jayo Brajajanarandana Jayo Yashodanandana Jayo Jayo Yashodanandana Jayo Brajajanarandana Jayo Yashodanandana Jaya Jaya Yamunatidavanachaare Jaya Kunjabihare Jaya Yamunatidavanachaare Jaya Kunjabihare Jaya Yamunatidavanachaare Jaya Kunjabihare Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihare Jaya Radha Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Jaya Girivaradhare Jaya Jaya Yashodanandana Jaya Rajajanaranjana Jaya Yashodanandana Jaya Jaya Yamunatidavanachaare Jaya Kunja Bihare Jaya Yamunatidavanachaare Jaya Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihare Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Everyone. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki, Shri Shri Nitai Gauranga Bhagavan Ki, Srila Prabhupada Ki, Samaveta Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki, Jai Nitai Gaura Premanande. Hare Krishna. Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 59, entitled The Killing of the Demon Naraka. This, this is verse 21. Shulam bhaumochutam hantum adade vitatodhyama tadvisarga purvamiva narakasya shirohari apaharad gajastasya chakrena shuranemina shulam bhaumochutam hantum adade vitatodhyama तत्विसर्गात् पूर्वमिव नरकस्य शिरोहरि अपाहरद्गजस्तस्य चक्रेण शूरनेमिना शूलं भौमोच्युतं हन्तुम् आददे विततोद्यम तद्विसर्गात् पूर्वमिव नरकस्य शिरोहरि अपहरद्गजस्तस्य चक्रेण शूरनेमिना. शूलं भौमो संवन्तुम्. Word to word meaning, translation and purport by disciples of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki, disciples ki jai. Shulam, his trident. Bhauma, Bhauma. Achyutam, Lord Krishna. Hantum, to kill. Adade, took up. Vitata, frustrated. Udyama, whose endeavors. Tat, its. Visarga, release. Purvam, before. Eva, even. Narakasya, of Bhauma. Shira, the head. Harihi, Lord Krishna. Apaharat, removed. Gaja, on his elephant. Stasya, who was seated. Chakrena, with his disc. Shura, razor sharp. Nimina, whose edge. Translation. Bhauma, frustrated in all his attempts, took up his trident to kill Lord Krishna. But even before he could release it, the Lord cut off his head with his razor sharp chakra as a demon sat atop his elephant. Purport. According to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti, as Bhauma raised his invincible trident, Satyabhama, sitting on Garuda with the Lord, said to Krishna, "Kill him right away." And Krishna did just that. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. He Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahabhadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Goratvashe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Shri Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Neelachala Nivasaya Nityaya Paramatmane Balabhadra Subhadrabhyam Jagannathaaya Te Namaha Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate garam yat kripatamaham vande Shri Guru Dinatarinam. Hare Krishna. So I seek blessings of all the devotees so that we can speak on Srimad Bhagavatam. Here, this chapter is entitled The Killing of the Demon Narakasura, or Bhaumasura. So, there are verses preceding this shloka, right, from 4 to 21. So, we will read them and then we will discuss. And what we will be reading is actually the battle between Narakasur and Lord Krishna. So, it's very, very exciting from the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam of how Krishna single-handed, you don't see a cavalry, big army, commanders, chiefs, generals. Yeah? We see in the great battles that we talk of Mahabharata or talk of various battles, we always talk about the oceanic army. His Holiness Chandramauli Maharaj was speaking that the Kurukshetra was 640 million people, and it was for miles and miles. How many? 28 miles. 20 miles, 28 miles. So, for Arjuna to kill Jayadratha, he had to travel that distance, and it was not like free distance. He had to actually move through the oceanic, warriors, Rathi, Maharathi, Athirathi kind of people. But when Krishna fought battles with Balaram, Jarasandha, so many times he brought Akshoni and Akshoni Sena, but it was just two of them. We hear. And here, this particular battle of Narakasur, it is said Narakasur's whole kingdom or the whole protection, it was 100 yojanas breadth and length. That was Narakasur's fortification, right? And Krishna goes single handed, and very interestingly, he goes with Mother Satyabhama. Usually, if you want to do something which will demand life threat or some risk, you don't carry women along because you don't want to create that. Even when Varahadev was fighting with Hiranyaksha, you know, he was being insulted. But at that time, he did not lose his composure because he did not want Prithvi, which was on the tusk, to feel, by his emotions, she gets a little perturbed. So he tolerated and first put her in a proper place that she would be comfortable. And then he said, Ab bata tu kya bola. Now I will take care of you, Hiranyaksha. But here in this whole battle, you see that Mother Satyabhama is right behind, or maybe with the battle, and Krishna is fighting. So he has to take care of that also while he has to lose his, with great anger and great enthusiasm, battle out single handed. And here is this huge fortification by Narakasura in collaboration with his friend Mura, right? No ordinary person. We're going to read about Mura. He was not like insignificant like Moody. Very, very powerful. Actually, in front of Krishna, everything looks insignificant. So for us, all the characters also look funny. बकाया उसको ऐसे चीर दिया, आघा आया उसको ऐसे choke कर दिया. But in themselves, they were no ordinary souls. They at least deserve some fear that, oh, आप आए थे. Okay, so we'll read these verses and then we will discuss. Text number 4. So we will flow through and discuss a little bit because it's a very chivalrous battle, right? So Krishna is on Garuda. It is said that the moment Indra comes to Dwaraka and complains that, my dear Lord, something very, very horrendous is happening. This Narakasur is your son. He is creating havoc in the three planetary systems. He has stolen the umbrella of Varuna. He has taken, charge of the Mandara mountains, which is a resort place for the demigods. And he took away Mother Aditi's Kundala. He has kidnapped 16,000 princesses all over the world, but he came and stole the Kundala. Actually, stealing the Kundala means like it is so humiliating that right in front of all the devatas, he came and stole, and nobody could say anything. So it was like, say, all the demigods looking at the ground and feeling humiliated that, eat ka jawab patthar se, but nothing here. They just thought, better survive. And then Indra, in that humiliated situation, goes to Krishna in Dwaraka and says, my dear Lord, you need to do something. And the Lord, the moment he is called for, the Lord takes great pleasure in demonstrating his prowess, which gives confidence to his devotees. Okay, don't worry. Ma Shucha. That is what the Lord wears on his hand, right? Varadaraj, Ma Shucha. And immediately the Lord says, okay, Satyabhama, you want to go out for a ride? And he just remembers Garuda, it is said. He remembers Garuda, and Garuda from nowhere, either he was in the vicinity doing same seva or somewhere, he didn't even have to call him. Just his Ichha Shakti that, I need to go for a battle, Garuda immediately came. Right? That is his connection with his master. And immediately Garuda came, Krishna went top with Satyabhama, and they started moving towards, what is this place? Prag Yotishapura. Prag Yotishapura, which is 100 yojanas length and breadth. And there Krishna comes, and it is said it was all fortified. With his club, the Lord broke through the rock fortifications. With his arrows, the weapon fortifications. With his disc, the fire, water, and wind fortifications. And with his sword, the Mura Pasha cables. So, in one sentence, the Lord has broken all of them. It is not at all ordinary, these fortifications. Sometimes we may say, what is it? I was in Daulatabad way back, and I was visiting forts. There are a lot of forts in these places. They make it on the mountains so that it's not accessible. So I went into one of the fort. The guide took us, and in this fort, if you go in, it's pitch dark, like the entry to go in. So pitch dark. You can't see anything. It was like 12 o'clock in the afternoon, but if you enter inside, you can't even look at yourself. When you look at your hand, you won't see it. Such pitch dark. And when you go through that fort and come out, there are two people, like during that time, two people with sharp swords. The moment you come out, they'll cut off your head. That was the first fortification. The darkness is one, and jaise hi aap nikle, there are two people standing with the sharp swords to chop you off. If by chance you saved yourself and just went in, there are two holes there where people with venomous, like poisonous arrows standing to strike you in different directions. And if you survive that also, there is a big hole, like this you see, a big hole in the terrace. So if anyone comes, they have like hot boiling oil waiting. Uski barish. So like this, the fortifications used to be made to protect, you know. So when I was just hearing it, I thought, "Kaunsa bach, will I be able to survive even the first one?" What to say of crossing the fortification and meeting your enemy? So even before meeting your enemy, there are so many arrangements. He said the rock fortification, so the rocks, the Lord says with his club, he just broke all the rock fortifications. Then with his arrows, the weapon fortifications. He says there in that particular place, there were magical seals, which you will read further also. That means just like you know mines, when you go in an enemy camp, Jai Shri Nitai Gaurang Bhagwan ki, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. So, just like, if you go to the enemy's camp, there are mines. You know what's a mine? If you, huh? Land mine. If you just touch it, it'll blow off. Right? So, here he had rock mines, or you can say rock seals. That means if you touch that rock, immediately it'll hurl out weapons. Automated. It seemed from the description they had all the technology, electricity, all the weapons, Anila weapons. So Krishna, with his club, broke the rocks fortifications, with his arrows, the weapon fortifications. That means there are automated weapons, no people also. They were all destroyed by his arrows. Then there was the fortification of fire. There was a gaseous substance, the acharyas explained. Then there was water and there was wind. All these fortifications. Maybe for big distance because it's 800 yojanas. It was huge. And said Krishna just with his disc, Sudarshan, just broke fire, water, wind. And finally, the Murapasha cables, which comes several times here. So it says they were like barbed wires, and he says they were electrified. You know, it was like maybe a great distance. So it says that also the Lord with his sword strikes off. This is all in one shloka, right? Verse number 4, right? What would have taken so long, the Lord just did it effortlessly. And then, with the sound of his conch shell, Lord Gadadhara then shattered the magic seals of the fortress, along with the hearts of its brave defenders. Right? So the conch shells shattered the magic seals. There were mantras and others to generate these weapons. Right? Along with the hearts of its brave defenders. And with his heavy club, he demolished the surrounding earthen ramparts. Again, fortifications. Ramparts is fortifications with his club. And as his conch shell Panchajanya blew, it shattered all the various, enemies. The five-headed demon Mura, who slept at the bottom of the city's moat, awoke and rose up out of the water when he heard the vibration of the Lord Krishna's Panchajanya conch shell, a sound as terrifying as a thunder at the end of the cosmic age. So the demon Mura, it is said, he was intoxicated. He was so ignorant in intoxication, he didn't know what's happening. So to get him out for the battle also, you needed to shake him. So the Lord, that is why blew the conch. And he was somewhere in the moat. It said there's a water body, and inside somewhere he was lying, this particular Mura. And the Lord blew his conch shell, which was like a thunder. Just like it said at the time of Pralaya, when there is clouds and there's thundering and there is pouring, that kind of sound was produced by Lord's Panchajanya. Right? So it's very interesting that the Lord's activities for his devotees, they give assurance. And for demons, it gives, fear. When the Lord blew Panchajanya on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, all the Pandavas and all on the side of Pandavas, they were feeling so happy that yes, our Lord is with us. But all the Kauravas, just by hearing the conch shell, it looked like, they have lost the battle. Lagta hai hoga nahi. They lost all their enthusiasm by hearing the fierceness. This terrifying sound, it seemed like the pralaya, shining with the blinding, terrible effulgence of the sun's fire at the end of a millennium. Mura seemed to be swallowing up the three worlds with his five mouths. It is said Mura was no less. He looked like fire. You couldn't open your eyes to see him. Forget about battling him. He was so fierce. He lifted his trident and fell upon Garuda, the son of Taraksha, like an attacking snake. You know. So that was Mura. Mura whirled his trident, then hurled it fiercely at Garuda, roaring from all five mouths. The sound filled the earth and sky, all directions, and the limits of outer space until it reverberated against the very shell of the universe. So Sanatan Goswami says, how did it happen? He said, this Mura, when he came out, he was like a fierce, fiery ball. And when he roared, it is said his roaring actually went into the ether in the higher space, all the higher planetary systems. It covered the whole atmosphere and it went and hit the shell of the universe and it struck back to go to the lower planetary system, just like reflection hota hai. So it went there, reflected, then went down to the lower planetary systems up till Patala and below. And that's how he shook the whole universe just by his roar. Huh? That itself was so fearsome. Right? And here Krishna is on Garuda, unmoved. Right? Then, with two arrows, Lord Hari struck the trident flying towards Garuda and broke it into three pieces. Two arrows, three pieces. Next, the Lord hit Mura's face with several arrows, and the demon angrily hurled his club at the Lord. As Mura's club sped towards him on the battlefield, Lord Gadagraja intercepted it with his own and broke it into thousands of pieces. Right? The Lord broke the club into thousands of pieces. Mura then raised his arms high and rushed at the unconquerable Lord, who easily sliced off his heads with his disc weapon. Right? Jai Shri Krishna Bhagavan ki Jai. So he sent his Sudarshan and out. So this is just the beginning. Right? Mura, the real protector, is gone. And the news is going to Narakasur for sure. He's on there. Lifeless Mura's decapitated body fell into the water, like a mountain whose peak has been severed by the power of Lord Indra's thunderbolt. Immediately the demon's seven sons, enraged by their father's death, prepared to retaliate. So the seven sons of Mura, they wanted to avenge for the death of their dear father. Right? Ordered by Bhaumasura, Mura's seven sons, Tambra, Antariksha, Shravana, Vibhavasu, Vasu, Nabhaswan, and Aruna, followed their general Pitha onto the battlefield bearing their weapons. So all of them now came on the battlefield with their weapons. Krishna is on Garuda. And the fierce warriors furiously attacked invincible Lord Krishna with arrows, swords, clubs, spears, lances, and tridents. At once, the attack was going on with the commander in chief, seven of them, and in all directions. But the Supreme Lord, with all unfailing prowess, cut this mountain of weapons into tiny pieces with his arrows. Right? It is very amazing. I don't know if you look at some action movies, you know, nowadays maybe they don't make so much like what they used to, that, there are so many enemies, so many people, so many directions, and it's like, the hero's party has been captured or the village is captured, And it's like, is there no one? Is there no one who can come and teach a lesson to this guy, or who can bring justice into place, dharma into place? Koi hai, koi hai, koi hai, you know. And sometimes you see just the hero throws something from far distance. It comes swirling, 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 and hits the guy. And then they go out to like zoom in, zoom out, and just a single man with a little weapon comes in, and right in few moments and minutes he hits here, hits there, shoots him, breaks him down. You know, it's really amazing. It really looks very exciting to watch a person fight with so many people. Just he knows how to grip whom, how to beat one. And when I would see in these movies, it would look like it seems nice. After you look at an action movie, you also start swelling up and say, you know. So I remember I was at my uncle's place, and he had a big godown, with all warehouse, like rice, chawal, dal, everything. So after I looked at a action movie, and then I also, as a kid that time, I felt so much, so excited. I went into the godown and started hitting the sacks. And I hit one sack and I bruised my hand. So it was unlike the movie, we could strike people and throw off all. But the hero, when you look at it, it's so exciting. But fact of life is, one South Indian hero I remember, he would beat someone and he would go like 50 meters, beat somebody else, go like flying. It was really amazing. So really his movies would become hit because of his stunt fights, you know. But later it happened so that he was convicted by someone that maybe he was involved in someone's, murder or some attack that happened to somebody. So the guy, when he heard that police is behind him, he got a heart attack. And in the newspaper headlines, he was shown in the hospital with some, what do you call, glucose. And he was like gasping for breath. So I thought, what is this? This is a mortal hero. In the screen he shows as if he can do so much. But एक झोंका आया कि शायद आपको हम गिरफ्तार कर लेंगे, तो हवाले ऐसे ही हो गया. But that's not Krishna. You know. So the reality of what we look at the movie only happens with Krishna. He can do these invincible things. He cut down everything. The Lord severed the heads, thighs, arms, legs, armor of his opponents led by Pita and sent them all to the abode of Yamaraj. Narakasur, the son of the earth, could not contain his fury when he saw the fate of his military leaders. Right? Thus he went out of the citadel with elephants born from the milk ocean who were executing mother from their foreheads out of excitement. So then finally, Narakasur, after having had all his people dead, he says, now I have to. So he comes on his maddened elephants, to fight. Lord Krishna and his wife, mounted upon Garuda, looked like a cloud with lightning sitting above the sun. Seeing the Lord, Bhauma released his Shatakni weapon at him, whereupon all of Bhauma's soldiers simultaneously attacked with their weapons. At that moment, Lord Gadagraja shot his sharp arrow at Bhaumasur's army. These arrows, displaying variegated feathers, soon reduced the army to a mass of bodies with severed arms, thighs, and necks. The Lord similarly killed the opposing horses and elephants. Lord Hari then struck down all the missiles and weapons the enemy soldiers threw at him, O hero of the Kurus, destroying each and every one with 3 sharp arrows. Meanwhile, Garuda, as he carried the Lord, so Garuda also has gone for the fight. He also wants to do some part, assistance. So what Garuda did, he struck the enemy's elephants with his wings. Beaten by Garuda's wings, beak and talons, the elephants fled back into the city, leaving Narakasur alone at the battlefield to oppose Krishna. So Garuda set the scene. he hit the elephants and all ran away. And Narakasura is right there with his elephant. I think at least his elephant didn't run away. Seeing his army driven back and tormented by Garuda, Bhauma attacked him with his spear, which had once defeated Lord Indra's thunderbolt. But though struck by that mighty weapon, Garuda was not shaken. Indeed, he was like an elephant hit with a flower garland. Now you see, when you are in touch with the Lord, it is like Mama Daivihi Esha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratya. He says this spear had given battle to Indra's thunderbolt and defeated Lord Indra's thunderbolt. And that spear, when he hit Garuda, it felt like a flower garland being hit on an elephant. Matlab, he was feeling affection. That was the effect. That means, when you're with the Lord, there is like unlimited Shakti. Yatra Yogeshwaro Krishna, Yatra Partho Dhanurdharaha, Tatra Shri Vijaya. Then Bhutir. Everything, Mater Mama, everything is there. All Aishwarya, all strength, all morality, all victory, everything is there. Right? When Krishna is chosen. That's why when it is said, when Arjuna chooses Krishna on his side, he said, that is declared to be Vijaya. So when we went to Simhachalam, yeah, Simhachalam, at that place, yes. So it said this word Vijayvada comes from, Arjun. Arjun's name is Vijay. So why did he become Vijay? Because he chose Krishna on his side. That's all. Matlab, after you choose Krishna, everything else is a consequence that will happen. So Bhauma, frustrated in all his attempts, took up his trident to kill Lord Krishna, but even before he could release it, the Lord cut off his head with his razor-sharp chakra as the demon sat atop his elephant. Jai Shri Krishna Bhagavan ki Jai. So thus, this demon, Narakasura, who was creating havoc literally at every place, was brought to his end in this way. Right? So we see the Lord's pastimes, the Lord doing such amazing feats, right? Just to give great pleasure to his devotees. Isn't it? We study in the Gita, Bhoktaram Yagyatapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Suhrudam Sarva Bhutanam Gyatva Mam Shantim Richati. So we know the Lord is Bhoktaram, that he is the enjoyer. How he enjoys and how he gives enjoyment to all the devotees. He's going to marry 16,100 queens and give all of them great arrangements. We know Suhrudam, well-wisher. The Lord is a well-wisher, which means, he is always ready to be for the devotee. Even if sometimes the person may be in little, annoyance with the Lord still is Suhrudam. Well-wisher means like parents to children. They never become enemies. In all relationships, if the other person doesn't behave well, you tend to become inimical. But a well-wisher relation is such that even though things happen inimically or even with some annoyance, they will forgive and they will accept. So Krishna is like that. Right? So Krishna is Suhrudam, Krishna is Bhoktaram. But there's another word that is used for Krishna is Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. He is the proprietor. And what would be proprietorship until you can protect your property? Right? If somebody says, I hold it, like a dog's proprietorship. A dog passes urine in 4 directions and then says, ये मेरी सत्ता है. Right? कोई आके एक पत्थर मारता है तो उसकी सत्ता चली जाती है. तो उसको प्रोप्राइटरशिप नहीं बोलते. इस दुनिया की सत्ता वैसी है. जब तक आप apne claws and your roar, you can hold it, you can hold it. But the moment someone roars more than you, then you have to evacuate. Sorry, evacuate means leave the place. It's not that kind of it. Maybe that is a phenomenon that would take place. Right? But Krishna's proprietorship is not like that. So Krishna's protection, his fierce protection that he gives through all these battles, through all his fights, is to say that I am Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. I never lose my proprietorship. I never lose my control. It's never that I, in a battle with the Saturn or this and that, I become any less powerful. Everything is in my control at every point of time. Right? Even if Varahadev looks to be being defeated by Hiranyaksha, it is just for increasing rasa. Right? As tattva, it always stays. So Krishna, through all these great fights that we see in the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam, is giving confidence to his devotees that I am Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. Right? I am the proprietor. So if you are my devotee, then what is the fear? Right? Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he comes to this world, he gives us assurance. It is said Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come to teach us Sharanagati. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Jive Daya Kori Swaparshadasviya Dhama Saha Avatari Atyanta Durlabha Prem Kori Baredan Shikhaya Sharanagati Bhakate Rapran. And what is Sharanagati? Dainyatma Nivedana Goptritve Varana Avashya Rakhibe Krishna Vishwasa Padana Bhakti Anukula Matra Karyera Swika Bhakti Pratikula Bhava Varjanangika Sadanga Sharanagati Hoibe Jaha Tahara Prarthana Sune Sri Nanda Kumar. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come to teach Sharanagati to the devotees. So cultivating our surrender, as Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, is these 6 symptoms. A devotee has dainya, humility. He always accepts the Lord's order and the order coming from the devotees. Atma Nivedana, he surrenders. And he just like, when there was a forest fire in Vrindavan, what did Krishna tell the cowherd boys? Close your eyes. So you need dainya to do that. Dainya and then Atma. You need humility. Okay, looks like he knows a little more than me. I should follow. So dainya is the beginning. And he says, then Atma Nivedana. Okay, I offer myself, my dear Lord. Goptrutve Varana. I know that Krishna will maintain. This is the confidence of the devotee. Actually, what is confidence of a devotee? Confidence of devotee is in Krishna. That Krishna will Goptrutve Varan also means I will not choose anyone else as my maintainer other than Krishna. That is called Goptrutve Varan. Not like प्रभु जी ये भी है, बैलेंस भी है, कनेक्शन भी है, वो भी है, और कृष्ण आप भी हैं. This is not like that. It says Krishna Goptrutve Varan means when will he offer you protection? When you say, I have no protection other than you as my protection, then Krishna says, now I am there for you. Till the time you hold so many for your protection, Krishna says, try out. Try out. But for a devotee, Goptrutve Varan means, oh my dear Lord, I have done all investments, but I know all will fail in course of time. No master can protect me. Yesterday we witnessed, suddenly our devotees, when they're looking from the terrace, a cow was there in the ditch, just by the side, and nobody could have seen it. Like it looked like with the foliage something, but just the devotee could strike. Look, it looked like the eye of the cow, and they could see that a cow is stuck in that particular ditch. If not for the devotee seeing, it would have died, and maybe nobody would even realize. The master who protected, the people who are taking care, nobody could, right? It's just that it happened that the devotees saw, and then devotees went and protected it. So after this episode, I happened to be there through the episode when it happened. I was just thinking, you know, if it's not for Nitai Gauranga's arrangement that the devotee saw the cow, it would not have been protected. Right? Similarly, we can do so much to feel security in life. So much we could do in security for life. But really, at the time when you need it, will it come? If I have a headache and a disease, can anyone feel that pain? I have some mental issue, my emotional issue. Can anyone feel that pain? Everybody can say, it'll get better. It'll get better. That's all. We are with you, it'll get better. But nobody can feel it. Only Krishna sitting in the heart can know exactly, and he can feel more than you because he loves you. Right? So it's only he who can understand your pain, number one. Number two, he can also do something for it. Right? So if at all protection or maintenance is required, it is only Krishna who can do so. So a devotee needs to invest, and that's why the Lord performs these leelas. He's killing Narakasur so effortlessly to see, hey, for me, what is the problem? 100 योजना का भी fortification कर दिया तो क्या हो गया? हम joy ride में खत्म करते हैं. He went with Satyabhama on Garuda and killed him, and he gave a nice ride to Satyabhama. That's all. That is Krishna. Avashya rakhibe Krishna iti vishwasa palan. Say that's a devotee. The Lord will protect ultimately. So a devotee has confidence. In the 11th canto of Bhagavatam, it is said a devotee who is practicing Krishna consciousness, sometimes there are external obstacles and there are internal obstacles. And the devotee feels, will I be able to cross over? Right? Life begins with romance, but turns into a tragedy with time. Right? So the more you spend, the more time you spend in the world, it becomes more tragical. So it is said, the Lord, there is a thing, it is said, oh, you're worshipping Krishna. Look, so many problems. You have a choice. They said there is some Devi who has become very, very powerful. You can offer worship to her, or you can offer worship to this powerful man. Looks like he is in power now. So I think you can change for some time to take someone else's shelter. The devotee is plotted. Maybe आप इसकी शरण लीजिए, maybe उसकी शरण लीजिए. The devotee says, no. Even if I am in this difficult situation, my master is Krishna. I will never give him up. Right? We don't know whether Krishna in Goloka is listening to your prayers. Contact हो नहीं रहा है. तो पता नहीं होगा कि नहीं, शायद नेक्स्ट अवतार में देखेंगे. सदियां बीत जाएंगी, जन्म जन्म बीत जाएंगे. He says, cholbe, I will go on. Allow me a little association, allow me some prasadam, some seva, and just that much. I won't demand much. Just allow me around. I will go through it in whatever situation. He says the devotee does not choose anybody. He says, Ananya, no anya, Ananya bhakti. I don't choose anyone else other than Krishna. And it is said, This quality of a devotee to only choose Krishna as a protector and maintainer is what conquers Krishna. Then he says, इसका और कोई नहीं है, इसका सिर्फ मैं हूं, तो इसके लिए मुझे ही जाना पड़ेगा. वहाम यहम. I only will have to go to him. He doesn't listen to anyone else going to him. Right? Only me and me. So I only will have to go for him. So that ananya faith in Lord being the protector and maintainer is what conquers the Lord's heart. And the Lord becomes completely purchased. And the Lord tells, right, he's purchased. Now he does not have his free will. The devotee says something, the devotee wants something, the Lord says, so be it. Satyabhama, पारिजात लेके आना है, आपने तो रुक्मिणी को एक दिया, हमको पेड़ चाहिए. Chalo. Once he's purchased, he's handpicked. Or you say, what do you call, devotee picked. That becomes the Lord and his devotee. So the Lord, through all his beautiful pastimes, is only giving assurance to devotees. Assurance again and again, devotees, that may it be a more and more difficult situation, but I can always cross over. I am invincible. Right? So become my devotee, depend on me as the maintainer and protector, and you will never have to lament. Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishvami ma shucha. So this is what Krishna is giving all of his assurance time and time again through the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam. So we take this Lord's appeal in our lives to become more and more faithful and more hopeful in our devotional practice and in our journey of Krishna consciousness. Jai Shri Krishna Bhagavan ki, Shri Shri Nitai Gauranga Bhagavan ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Samaveta Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki, Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. Thank you very, very much. Hare Krishna.